More than just the headlines. This is WCBS News Radio 880.
Hello, I'm part of the More. I'm Mike Sugerman, and I do the sweet spot here on WCBS. Certainly not the headlines, but there's stories, people, and places and things in the New York area that make this place the special place that it is. And I do one a week. I did 52 this year. Fascinating people I met, weird stuff, some serious things, hopefully stories that stay with you and make you think a little bit, if not have a little fun. Here are some of my favorites from throughout the year, 2019. The first, we do weather and traffic together. This was sort of a traffic story and a way to stay out of traffic.
David Pike runs a specialty bus company, New York Trolley.
They're charter trolleys, so we do weddings, pub crawls, corporate events, and birthday parties in New York City.
It is an odd style of transportation, so you might think he has a different way of getting to work. He does.
I take my Sea-Doo.
He takes his Sea-Doo.
I take my Sea-Doo to work every day.
A Sea-Doo is a personal watercraft, jet ski kind of thing that takes more than an hour off his commute from Jersey City to Red Hook in Brooklyn.
I was sick of the commute. It used to take me 90 minutes to get to work, from taking the bus, to trains, to another bus, to walking.
Now it's 15 minutes straight across New York Harbor. And on a recent day, he picked up a hitchhiker.
You sure this is safe?
We'll see. So I can go 50 on this.
50 miles an hour?
50 miles an hour. So usually though, with the waves and the chop, I'll have to go a bit slower. Today's super calm.
Yeah.
It's really nice out here. That's amazing. It's so cool to wake up the morning by being on the water, seeing other boats out there, seeing birds, seeing wildlife. It's really neat. I see the Staten Island Ferry. That's probably the biggest obstacle because they go so fast across the harbor. You see huge cruise ships, a lot of container ships, Statue of Liberty tourist boats.
So what's your wife think of this?
Yeah, she's kind of used to me by now. She did tell me to bring a cell phone, but joke's on her because there's no service out there.
My hand.
We looked for it for a while, never guessing in all of New York Harbor.
Got it. Wet.
This is Red Hook, Brooklyn.
How do you feel?
I feel great. The commute was refreshing, and now I'm at work.
You all wet and icky?
I'll dry off.
Might take me a bit more time to get used to this. The Sweet Spot. I'm Mike Sugerman, WCBS News Radio 880.
Favorite part of that story for me was losing my hat in the middle of the harbor and then finding it. And I still have it today. It did dry off. Took a day or two, but it did dry off. In the middle of the year, I became part of the story. This was a story about a contest where the dumbest jokes might win. And I'm pretty good at dumb jokes, so I thought I'd give it a try.
Once upon a time,
That's dad humor. I can't believe what he just said.
gags that make others gag.
You get groans or beat up or broken up with or fired.
Puns, in the wrong hands, they can be punishing.
And I have a few jokes about unemployed people, but none of them work. None of them work.
My girlfriend's been working out, or at least she keeps telling me she's going to see Jim.
We get concerts around here sometimes. They do them out on the west side of Manhattan, right along the river. I think they rock Hudson.
But not here.
The Punderdome.
Are we ready to do the dome? The Punderdome is a pun contest. Give them a topic. They each have 90 seconds to decide what they're going to say. And everybody comes up individually and has 2 minutes to engage the crowd.
Yes, competitive punning at Littlefields in Brooklyn once a month.
I saw this Egyptian woman, and she appeared to have stolen my look. She was a real kleptopatra.
I was actually invited to do this down on Capitol Hill. I was going to do some sets for some reps.
The key to being up here is try not to dodge the dumb things that you're going to say, and I know I'm going to.
Yes, that's me. I figured I'm a word guy. I'm kind of punny.
I had a hard time coming here. I had to drive over the Gowanus. I forded over, frankly. These are dad jokes, you know, and I'm good because I have 2 scions. And I'm looking at the crowd, I'm getting kind of horny. You're like roadkill up here.
Those were the highlights. I finished last.
Sometimes it's the delivery. It's the delivery.
I gotta work on the delivery.
Yeah.
You think decades as a professional broadcaster might have helped? Guess I'll leave it to the true champ puns, whose puns are definitely intended. The Sweet Spot. I'm Mike Sugerman, WCBS News Radio 880.
Well, at least I took a swing at it, which is a pun for the next story you're about to see, playing golf in a very unlikely place.
Now on deck, the 5:16 tee time. Matt Poulter, party of 6, please report to the starter's desk.
Right off the bat, you'll notice this golf course plays a bit differently.
The first hole is right over here.
Woo! That was your sweetest swing of the day.
It's the closest I'll ever come to hitting a home run at a major league park.
Though hitting for the fences isn't the goal here.
You know, I've always fantasized about hitting golf balls from home plate.
This is likely the closest you'll ever get.
It's a thing of beauty. It's going deep. It's going deep. It's tickling on the dance floor. Oh, give us a little spin move. Give us a little spin move. Leadership.
The company Stadium Links took over Citi Field recently and turned it into a golf course of sorts.
If you get it on the field, it's a bogey. If you get on the green, you're green. It's a par. If you get in that small circle, that's a birdie. And there's actually a hole, so technically you can make a hole in one.
They've done it at several ballparks around the country. You swing from the top deck onto greens set up on the field. The only ones actually allowed down there are the unfortunate ground crew who have to clear the balls away.
Oh my God, you're gonna kill this guy, bro.
And maybe a mulligan or two along the way.
Where'd it go? Somewhere over there.
It's about $100 per person for 9 holes. Tee times started at 7 a.m., ended at 10 p.m. for 3 days, and they kept coming.
This is absolutely fabulous.
It was very fun.
And what a story to tell.
Mike Sugerman on the first hole of Stadium Links Golf here on this brisk Friday, Flushing Meadow. Oh, he's got it way up in the air on the first hole here. It's going straight at the flag. It's a miracle. It's a Cinderella story. It's in the hole.
That's the story I'm telling anyway. Stadium Links will return next offseason. The Sweet Spot. I'm Mike Sugerman, WCBS News Radio 880.
I think the ball actually went in. It was one of the best golf shots I ever made, and I was under pressure. I had the camera rolling, and I only had a couple of tries to do it. It was freezing cold out there, by the way. All right, sports. Well, golf, yeah. And here's another sports story that you didn't hear on Brad Heller's Sports Report.
Let us skedaddle to a Williamsburg bar to ski the agony and the ex-skiddy
For the win!
of competitive skee ball.
It's not just riveting and exciting, it's a real sport.
Many of you now probably rolling your eyes.
They do more rolling of the balls than rolling of their eyes once they actually see a league night in person. My name is Eric Pavoni. I am the CEO of the National Skee Ball League.
That's the NSBL for those who aren't familiar with his work, as, say, the host of the NSBL Weekly Review Show on Twitch.
These people are as talented at skee ball as any athlete is talented at their respective sport.
This is the only sport where I can hold a beer and roll at the same time.
He goes by the Doctor, like many in the sport, with a nickname: Scabron, Ski Nafay, Ski Diddy. Puns almost as important as points in this sport. The NSBL now in its 14th season, starting in 2005 when Pavoni got the idea of making it a real thing.
And we now have, in the Skee Ball Open this year, 17 cities in 16 U.S. states including Cologne, Germany, competing for the title of #1 skee ball player on the planet.
Grand prize $10,000. That's a long way from the bunch of tickets you might have won at Chuck E. Cheese back in the day. How good are these players? Tell them they hit a 40, they'll hit a 40. Tell them they hit a 50, they'll hit a 50. A hundo, 100? It's harder, but there are players who have scored a perfect 900 in one game with 9 balls. And the hundreds who play in New York and thousands nationwide bond while they roll.
And we've have so many friendships. I've been to like 6 weddings from skee ball. Like, it's created a community that we are a part of that I love.
National finals coming to Brooklyn's Full Circle Bar in September. Ski you there. The Sweet Spot. I'm Mike Sugerman, WCBS News Radio 880.
All right, as I mentioned, a lot of the stories are fun, but some are serious too. And I got to meet some people who are doing some very heroic things, like our next woman who has one of the greatest jobs in the world.
Of all the jobs in a hospital, Eileen Adams may have the best.
I'm a cuddler.
Her job title? Cuddler.
We cuddle tiny babies.
That's a job?
It is. It's an amazing job.
And here's what she does.
Old MacDonald had a farm. E-I-E-I-O.
She and the other volunteers hold the tiny babies, sing to them, talk to them, at New York Presbyterian Hospital. Some born upwards of 17 weeks early, weighing 1 pound. Pretty sick.
It's amazing to see how when you cuddle a baby, how their heart rate just goes down.
Their oxygen saturations improve, their oxygen requirements go down when they're prevented from being crying or fussy all the time.
Helps parents, too, who can't be there all the time. Some of these babies stay in the hospital upwards of 6 months.
Mom would take a sigh of relief and says, oh my God, I feel good now. If I'm not here, I know there's someone who will comfort my baby. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. That makes my heart so excited.
She knows the feeling. Her daughter was born premature, and she had to go through what these parents are going through. Though 30 years ago, Cuddlers didn't exist. She was the first at this hospital in 2008. That was 1,100 babies ago.
I take it very personal when I come in and see these babies. And the weather is a little damp, a little rain, but it's okay. I brought my umbrella. Is my baby okay? Will my baby be okay? I know what that feels like, so I can impart a lot of my experience to these moms and comfort them and let them know I've hugged them, I've cried with them, I've laughed with them.
I know too. See this little guy? He was born at 29 weeks gestation, 2 pounds, 15 ounces, 35 years ago. Will Sugerman has grown into a strapping 6-footer with a son of his own now. But it was tough for my wife and I. Wish there'd been a cuddler program in those days. The Sweet Spot. I'm Mike Sugerman, WCBS News Radio 880.
Yeah, that was a story close to my heart because of my son, who is now 35, soon to be 36, with a child of his own and doing incredibly well. You wouldn't believe that he was a preemie when he was born, and I do wish that we had a cuddler back then. The next story also is more of a serious one. I got to thinking about police officers and staying on the job, so I did some research to find out the longest running member of the NYPD, and I was surprised when I found out who it was.
New York City police officers wear a badge on the left side and longevity bar on the right. Roman numerals for how long you've been in the department. 5 years V, 15 years XV, and so on. You can try like L to get to 50, but there's only been one person in the history of the department to get that, and he wears it today.
I feel like a newcomer, although I've been around this department for 53 years. I'm Rabbi Alvin Cass, Chief Chaplain of the New York City Police Department.
And the longest serving member of the police department in uniform today.
So I say a newcomer because every experience that I have is really very exciting for me.
This job would be heaven on earth if he believed in heaven. 1966, he got the call, not from above, but the department. The Jewish chaplain had died. Would he be interested? Not really, he thought.
I had never known a police officer. I'd never been in a police station. I don't remember playing cops and robbers when I was a youngster.
Figured he didn't have a prayer, but he ended up getting the job and never looked back, dealing with the ups and downs of police life over half a century.
Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Vexing the situation, the rash of police suicides, subject of the talk to this roll call at Precinct 19 in Manhattan one recent day, as he got stories to tell, ending a hostage-taking, trading a gun for a pastrami sandwich, or presiding over high holidays in the wake of 9/11. One of 7 chaplains in the department, serving all faiths.
I've probably been to more Catholic masses than any other rabbi on the face of the earth.
When he speaks, people listen.
Sergeant Carlos Nieves, one of his many friends in the department.
I think everyone is his friend. How could you not want to be his friend? He's a pleasure to be around.
And after 53 years on the job, the rabbi plans to be around for some time to come.
For as long as God gives me the strength, and people will accept me.
Until he gets word from a higher authority, and we're not talking about the commissioner. The Sweet Spot. I'm Mike Sugerman, WCBS News Radio 880.
I heard about the next story from a friend of mine who took this tour, and I did some research and found out it was, I think, the most popular Airbnb tour in the world, and I found out why very quickly. Great story and a great guy.
Organized crime on the Lower East Side? No one better to hear the stories from this guy.
I grew up with it and then fought against it, right? And now I'm talking about it. So my name is Dennis O'Leary.
And who exactly is Dennis O'Leary?
That's where I grew up. That's number 249. That was my apartment building.
Where his neighbors, his buddies' dads, and then he says his buddies got involved in family business.
Because the guys I grew up had like 200, 300, 400 kills.
He didn't go into crime.
I like to start off by showing you guys my police ID. It's always nice so you know I'm legit.
8 years on the streets in the organized crime unit and narcotics, now retired. And he gives tours of the streets he knows from both sides. History with food thrown in.
We start here at John's of 12th Street. This is where the mob was founded in 1931 when they decided who's going to run which group and become these named families. That actually happened here at John's. 1920s, 2nd Avenue, this area in particular, every sort of well-to-do person came here for their vices. They're shooting back and forth at each other. There's 2 bystanders that are hit. Street sweeper shot in the neck right here. And across the street, a little girl, 8-year-old girl shot in the chest.
Some of what he talks about you can read on the internet. Other spots more personal.
I'd be out there buying drugs, good quantity of cocaine, and I just got rushed from the back, thrown on the floor, and they basically ruined work that we've been working on for like a year. I also know someone from the neighborhood growing up. They believed he was a rat, and when they found his body, he had a dead canary in his mouth.
All this with meatballs, pizza, cheese, and cannoli thrown in. It's an Airbnb tour, and the company tells him it's the most popular one anywhere in the world.
Yeah, fantastic, yeah.
I think it's both the kind of over-the-top drama of the stories, but also that you understand the motivations. There's a lot of family aspect.
We've walked all over the city, seen all sorts of different sides of things, and then you do a tour like this and you realise how much you miss.
Dennis has moved on. He's now in technology and donates the money he makes on the tours to charity, he says. A way to give back.
I'm going to hell regardless of what I do, but maybe I'll stay one level of hell above the lowest level.
It would be a crime to miss. The Sweet Spot. I'm Mike Sugerman, WCBS News Radio 880.
Where do I get some of my ideas? Well, I have to admit I get many of them sitting in a bar. Dive bars in particular. I enjoy nursing a drink at a dive bar. You meet the most interesting people, you see some interesting things, and you get some extremely interesting ideas talking to people there. But I got to thinking, as I was nursing a drink once, how do these places stay in business? The rent is so high, and they're charging so little for the beers and the shots.
I think it was W.C. Fields who first said, I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. And no better place to have one of those than at a dive bar. The beat and rhythm of the dive bar contained in the ubiquitous shaker and the melody in the old school register generally found there. Though the prices, what makes a dive bar a dive, won't get owners rich.
If you're going to go to a bar like on a regular basis and it's not on the company dime, you kind of need a dive bar.
Patrick Cromley is not on the company dime today, bending an elbow next to artist John McGill.
It's like a church. You know, it's a base camp one to me. If you're going on a mission and you want to get ready to go, this is where you come.
We open at 8 in the morning. We close at 4 in the morning. Only a dive bar is going to open at 8 in the morning, and there's people in line.
Danny D. Pamphilis is the general manager of Rudy's in Hell's Kitchen, a dive bar other dive bars want to be. It's been a bar since the 1880s and part of a dying breed.
One of the big problems, obviously, is real estate.
Christine Sismondo wrote the book on dive bars, well, a book. America Walks Into a Bar, and she says dive bars are dying, especially in New York City.
Just the gentrification of these big cities makes it really hard to make a living off of, $2 beers.
Not to mention the cost of a liquor license, $5,000 every 2 years, which has a chilling effect. So, dive bars are dying. So what?
They are a fabric of the neighborhood, and when they go, the fabric of the neighborhood goes with it.
New York apartments are generally small. People can't always entertain. Dive bars are places all sorts of people mingle.
I want to go someplace that's is close to drinking at home, but in a social setting.
Rudy's isn't likely to go away soon. Its owner, Jack Ertl, is 91. His family has owned the place almost a century.
This has to be some kind of Guinness Book of Records. A man that owns a bar and has been drinking in the bar that he owns for 75 years.
That is a high bar. The Sweet Spot. I'm Mike Sugerman, WCBS News Radio 880. Continuing our theme of food and drink, our next story is about pizza, one of New York's favorite meals, with a twist. And another friend of mine told me about this, and this could be an exclusive. I don't think a lot of reporters were allowed in to do this story. On a nondescript street in a nondescript storefront, somewhere in Brooklyn, they are making pizza unlike any you'll find at a chain.
We infuse all of our products with THC.
Marijuana.
THC marijuana, yes, sir.
This pizza pie will get you high. It's out of the brain of this guy.
Chris Barrett, I'm the founder of Stone Pizza, and we're in Brooklyn, New York location.
This product puts the concept of the munchies on its head. First comes the pizza. There are 320 milligrams of THC baked into each pie. Each slice has approximately 40 milligrams. 10 milligrams said to be the normal dose.
Some people, maybe one slice is good. Some people, 2 slices.
Pizza, chicken wings, ganja nuts, cheesecake, cookies, brownies, and of course just plain weed in pre-rolled joints, all completely illegal.
We're hiding in plain sight. You're the only one that gets this address.
Recreational pot is not legal in New York nor New Jersey, the places they sell, mostly by delivery, arranged on Instagram. He could be arrested at any time.
Do I care? I care. Ain't nobody wants to get arrested, right? But I think that in 2019, it would be foolish of any prosecutor to take the Stone Pizza case.
The NYPD recently said it would only ticket people smoking in public, no arrests. Didn't say anything about the pizza delivery guy. Of course, he doesn't have any health department clearances either, despite a 12-person operation, very successful operation, in 3 different cities and 2 states.
I'm an Italian kid from Brooklyn. I know pizza. And I'm a weed head, so I've been smoking weed my whole life.
So how is it?
First off, I thought the pizza was very good. It was better than expected.
I had my friend Brian try it. He's a man whose opinion of both pizza and pot I respect.
It's a nice, mild buzz. It's not too crazy. It's something that you got to really be careful of because it'll sneak up on you.
Something Mr. Barrett hopes the cops don't do. Stone Pizza. In the parlance of the culture they bake, to get you baked. The Sweet Spot. I'm Mike Sugerman, WCBS News Radio 880. All right, this is The Sweet Spot, and I will end with a true sweet spot, one of the great places in Lower Manhattan, and I had just a ball hanging out there. These are kids in a candy store, and so are these. They're picking up
Alexander the Great, Goldenberg's peanut chew,
Megadots that you can't find anymore.
Grown kids who are remembering their childhood.
to get a lot of the old-fashioned candies that I remember when I was a kid.
They have stuff here that you can't find anyplace else.
I'm reliving my childhood. That Bonamo Turkish taffy cost all my fillings.
Her fillings are in danger once again.
We're at Economy Candy, 108 Rivington Street on the Lower East Side.
That's Jerry Cohen, the third of 4 generations.
I look like Opie there, right?
Who have run the place since 1937.
I hope you come more often.
It might not be the biggest candy store in America, though it is big.
We have over 2,000 varieties of candy, I would say, at any one point.
But what they specialize in is the variety of stuff you just don't see anymore. Stuff from 30, 40, 50 years ago.
I think I'm gonna grab some bitter honeys, you know, because I couldn't find the caramel, the chocolate ones that I like.
Customers like Ramon Barrera, who grew up on the Lower East Side and used to come here as a kid. Now he has to travel from East Orange, New Jersey, but anytime he's nearby, he stops by.
It brings sweetness and a little sunshine to everybody when you go back and you revisit times, you know, when things were a lot simpler.
No, this is my first time.
And Wendy Werbel Marks, who happened to be in the neighborhood.
My daughter went when she was a youngster in Hebrew school to Lower East Side, and when I told her I was coming here, she said, that's the only thing that I remember.
My favorite, little wax bottles with flavored who knows what kind of liquid inside.
Wax bottles? Yeah, of course we have that. Do you remember the wax harmonica? When you used to get Halloween, that orange flavored wax, you just blow the whistle and then eat the candy. Yeah.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Also tooth decay. Appropriately enough, that's a sweet spot. And I'm Mike Sugerman, WCBS News Radio 880.
I'm still eating some of the candy that I took home from Economy Candy. Well, that comes to the end of this podcast. You know, I want to introduce you to the team behind the Sweet Spot here on WCBS. Here's our producer. Here's our photographer. Here's our editor. Here's our writer. And here's our reporter. I do it all myself. I use an iPhone. I take video. I edit the video. And I bring it to you. It's incredible what this little piece of equipment can do. It's far different from when I was a regular on television. And is it easier? Yes. Is it better? I think it is. Anyway, I really enjoy doing these Sweet Spots. I do, as I say, I do one a week. It is one of the favorite things that I've ever done in this business. And I've been in this business almost 50 years. That's a long time. But these are my favorite. These are really among my favorite stories. And the job is just terrific. I get to go around, as I say, and meet people and see things that I probably wouldn't otherwise get a chance to do. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next in the Sweet Spot.